Welcome back to the Comic Verse in this special bonus episode of Comic Book Review. Although this week we'll be covering the origin and first appearance of Deadman, before we do, we're going to look at the first appearance of Agatha Harkness. Why are we doing this? Well, because Marvel Studios and Disney Plus is releasing Agatha, House of Harkness this week as a limited series, and before we start reviewing that series, we thought it would be a good idea to remind everyone exactly who Agatha is. Her first appearance was alongside the first family of Marvel, the Fantastic Four, in October of 1969, issue number 94, in a story titled Return of the Frightful Four, written and illustrated by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. The Fantastic Four are gushing over the newest members of the Richards family, Reed and Sue's baby boy, who they announced in this issue as being named Franklin. Ben Grimm, the Thing, is hesitant to hold the child, but after it is announced that his middle name is Benjamin, after Ben himself, he quickly becomes emotional and wants to hold little Franklin all he can. The happiness is short-lived, though, as the Richards tell Ben and Johnny that they must now bring the baby upstate to be put in protective custody of a child-rearing specialist, until the Richards are no longer constantly facing mortal danger as superheroes. Meanwhile, the Wizard, leader of the Frightful Four, has been spying on the Fantastic Four, and we are quickly introduced to the other three members, Trapster, Medusa, and the Sandman, who the Wizard healed after the Incredible Hulk turned his arms to glass in the Incredible Hulk issue number 114. Later on, inside a lonely mansion atop a lonely hill, an elderly woman peers out her window and explains to Ebony, her cat, that she needed to unretire when she heard about the identity of the parents of her newest foster child. The Fantastic Four approach through a terrible storm, one that frightens Ben, and as they approach what he describes as Dracula's house, Reed explains that it belongs to Agatha Harkness and it sits atop Whisper Hill. They land and explain to Ben that Agatha is world famous and this location is secluded and safe for young Franklin. But before they can knock on the door, Agatha opens, announces herself, and welcomes them all in. Inside, Agatha explains that the child will stay in her room and that she could not refuse helping out the Fantastic Four, which is why she unretired. She then invites the four of them to remain for the night as it is late and the storm has increased in intensity. As Ben and Johnny ready for bed, they comment on the gothic decor of the mansion. Ben leans on a wall and suddenly it swings open and he falls through to the other side. A secret corridor is revealed. Ben does not see the metal disc thrown in his direction. It attaches itself to Ben and pins him to the ceiling. He turns to see the Wizard and the Sandman standing there. Ben is trapped by the Wizard's anti-gravity disc. As they knock out Ben with an energy blast, a flame comes through the false wall. The Wizard acts quickly, flying at high speed to knock over the Human Torch before he can flame on. Next, to totally incapacitate him, the Sandman covers him, because nothing can burn when suffocated with sand. In the room of Reed and Sue Richards, Reed gets alarmed at the ruckus down the hall. He attempts to check it out, but the door will not budge. On the other side is the Trapster and Medusa. The Trapster is pasting the door shut, and when Reed attempts to stretch through from underneath, the Trapster glues his hand and his arm in place against the door. The Trapster reveals that he has already sealed the windows of the room as well, keeping Sue from exiting. The Wizard flies down the hall and declares that he will now end the Fantastic Four, but Medusa turns on the Frightful Four and uses her hair to ensnare the Wizard. She tells the Wizard that she could never join them and that she was there in case the Fantastic Four needed help, that the Frightful Four are not real men but monsters. She quickly disarms Trapster with her hair, but the Sandman is able to blind her with a perfectly thrown sandball. The Trapster covers her in paste, and Medusa is now neutralized. The remaining three head up the stairs to finish off the Fantastic Four. However, at the top they see Agatha and Ebony and mock her for thinking they would heed the warning of an old lady not to come any closer. That, and she tells them, Ebony's hackles are beginning to rise. The Wizard calls Ebony just an alley cat, but soon finds out that Ebony is much more, as he begins to grow and now chase the Wizard. The Wizard flies through a closed window, still being chased down by the ever-growing image of the black feline. The remaining two tell Agatha that they do not think that she is funny, to which Agatha responds humor has never been her forte. She raises her arms, and in doing so casts a spell that turns the Sandman's arms to heavy stone, causing him to fall backwards onto the Trapster. But the Trapster is able to move out of the way, and he runs, leaving the Sandman to his own personal misery. The Trapster is not alone for long, though. A large shadow is chasing after him. Then it appears in front of him, growling, growing, revealing a demon's face. It grabs the Trapster and begins to squeeze. The villain screams as loud as he can, but no sound is heard. At this time, Ben and Medusa are free. They find the Sandman in his normal form, frozen like a cardboard cutout, as if in a trance. The Wizard is hanging in a tree, as if he was shot out of a cannon and through the window. Reed appears and asks about the baby and Agatha, to which Medusa tells him they've yet to see them. They all rush to Agatha's room. As Reed bursts in, he finds little Franklin asleep and Agatha sitting in her rocking chair half dozing as if nothing happened. She asks that Reed do not awaken the baby and that of course everything is all right, as if she had no idea what has already transpired. As Ben exits the room, he notices a book titled Tales of Old Salem, and he begins to think that Agatha may be something more than expected, and that maybe Sue and Reed know what they're doing, leaving their baby with someone like this for protection. Agatha asks Ben if everything is okay. Ben mumbles back to her, and Agatha states, "You are looking at me strangely. One would almost think that I were a witch." Ben quickly denies thinking this, stating, "Who would ever think a thing like that?" To which Agatha replies, "Who indeed, my dear Mr. Grimm?" And our last panel is that of Ben running back to his bedroom. So yes, sometimes ally, sometimes enemy, Agatha will go through many changes, including a de-aging, dying, being resurrected, aligning with Mephisto, aligning with the Scarlet Witch to teach her magic. Agatha has a lot of continuity changes over the next few decades. But this is how she started, as the most protective and capable child nanny the Fantastic Four could have ever hoped for. We'll see if any of Agatha's origin or first appearance pops up in the new Disney Plus series, but for now, I hope you enjoyed this look at one of Marvel Comics' most powerful magic users. Let me know what you think in the comments section below. Are you an Agatha fan? And do you have high hopes for the new series? We'll be back later this week with our usually scheduled comic book review and DC Comics Dead Man. In the meantime, if you want more comic book entertainment, check out my Welcome to the Comicverse playlist by clicking on the link in the description. As well, if you like this video, we'd appreciate it if you like, subscribe, comment, and share it out. It really helps out the channel each week. I thank you for watching. Remember, I'm still your reluctant gringo, and from south of the border, salute and a huevo.